Some of you guys are here for this, and some of you don't know the treat you're in for. Our next presenter, since 1986, has been the owner of Michael O'Shaughnessy, Inc. Real Estate Brokers, which is one of the largest residential real estate companies in Winter Park, one of the most competitive zip codes in our area from 1986 to about the year 2000. He's been a Florida real estate agent since 1982. He is a highly successful real estate investor with brokerage sales over $100 million, but get this, guys, ready? Shh. Personal purchases over $25 million as a real estate investment. He's a member of Aura. He's a member of the Daytona Beach Association of Realtors. But check this out. Here's what you don't know about him. Aside from the fact he's in the UCF Athletic Hall of Fame because he was a badass football player without going to high school, which is pretty awesome. But check this out. He's the world record holder on a traditional paddleboard. He's paddleboarded the English Channel, Loch Ness, the Irish Sea, and he went from Cuba to the United States on a paddleboard. 4-time East Coast paddleboarding champion, 6-time Florida State paddleboarding champion. And you guys get where this is going, right? So he's a member of the CCIM, and he's also, just to add to this, he's also a distinguished Toastmaster from Toastmasters International. So really, he could do this whole thing without me. So he's the author of the book Millennial Women, Personal Security and Financial Prosperity for Today's Woman. He's the founder of Millennial Women Foundation. That's awarded over 250 educational scholarships to women. He's the owner of Hodaddy's Surf and Sports Camp, Hodaddy's Surf Cream Shop. Let's welcome Mr. Michael O'Shaughnessy. Let's give him a giant round of applause.
Good Lord, I need to raise my energy, don't I? My God.
On the bottom.
Test.
Next up, all right, I'm going to try to do this bio that's kind of combined. Next up, we got Andres Ospina. Andres started in real estate in 2015 when he was only 24 years old. He got his license with a big vision of becoming a millionaire through real estate and helping millions of people. Later, his wife Kelly joined the team in 2016. After getting to the US from Colombia, they started working together and everything is now flourishing. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tell you, but they're managing 35 or so or maybe more Airbnbs right now. So if you guys want to learn, would you guys say that's pretty cool? Say that's hot? They've represented buyers, sellers, investors. They've been winners of Orlando Real Producers, 35 under 35, Aura's 20 under 40, the $1 Million Club, and all sorts of other stuff. They've been rising stars, a whole bunch of awards from Real Producers, basically, and Aura. And let's give a giant round of applause to Andres Ospina, here to teach you guys about Airbnb. Last but certainly not least, and by the way, Michelle Elsid is sick today, so at the last second, she didn't want to spread it to you guys. So sorry she's not here, but Andres is going to double up his content on Airbnb, and we're going to be good. But if you want to send her a well wishes, go for it. But we'll give her a 1, 2, 3 clap too, because she definitely wanted to be here. 1, 2, 3. I just realized everyone's going to ask me that. So, as a second-generation realtor and self-proclaimed SOB, son of a broker, born and raised in Oviedo, Florida. Anyone representing Oviedo out here? A couple of us out there. Jack's no stranger to real estate. He recalls going in with his parents, learning to negotiate deals at a young age. It wasn't until '98 that his passion for real estate started. He actually was originally trying to become a chef, which is pretty interesting. But long story short, I'm going to skip half of his bio. Sorry, Jack. He lives with his wife, Mary Beth. He's got 2 beautiful daughters. He loves to have a good time, to cook, to go boating, and we're throwing a giant grilling and bourbon thing in his house at some point, so if you want info, let us know. But here's what's cool about it. Jack is a real estate broker. He sells $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 million a year, but here's why he wants to talk to you guys. He'll also just build 3, 4, 5 spec homes a year, make an extra few $100,000 without trying to compete with you guys, without dealing with market issues, incompetent agents, stressors in real estate, or any of the other things that make your hair turn gray. Anyone want to learn a little about that? Make some noise. Let's bring up Jack Luiz. The second or third? The third, that's what I thought. Jack Luiz the third. All right. Let's get this thing started. Let's go down the line, just hear how you got into real estate, and then when you realized you needed to do more than only sell houses. I'll start with you, Mike.
I'll start it off. I ended up in college. I got an education degree. My first job out was teaching 6th grade science. I was making $11,000 a year. Interest rates are 22%. I thought that was a great opportunity and a great time to get into real estate. 22%. I did say 22%. The only kind of deals that were going down were no money down deals. 1s, 2s, 3s, seller financing. That's the only way because you couldn't get loaned. If you bought a $64,000 house, your mortgage payment would be like $2,600 a month. So you really had to be creative. Now, I was not that bright. I didn't realize that wasn't the time to get into real estate. I had lost my job as a teacher, and I loved teaching. I lost it because I stuttered all the time. And I carried that into my adult life, and I wasn't asked back. It broke my heart. And I got into real estate. I said, I need to make some money. And I survived that early period, and I got to tell you, it's been a fun ride. Go ahead.
Wow, that was amazing. So, born in Colombia, came here at 9 years old, $5 in my pocket with my mom. And I knew I had to become financially free. And, from a young age, I knew it. I don't know why I was going to do it. I guess because I put my mind to it, right? Because I made that decision. I invested in a bunch of stuff, and, I never found really my niche until like 22 or 23. I had $20,000 saved up. I've always been good about saving money. And I put that $20,000 into real estate because I wanted to become financially free. I wanted to basically retire my whole family. And, that was a goal from the beginning. And I just kept going online and, how to become a millionaire. And real estate. I started in bigger pockets, and I just started downloading all the information that I could about real estate. Got my real estate license because I was going to be an investor. And I said, okay, if I'm going to be an investor, buy, sell properties, might as well make money. So the whole goal of me getting my real estate license was to become an investor. So the moment that I decided that was when I got my license. So.
What up, Orlando? Woo! Well, for me, it really comes down to 2 words. American dream. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. I like that. Yep. Like Aaron said before, I am an office SOB. That is a son of a broker. A second-generation real estate agent here. My mom still got her brokerage license now. Great lady. I had great mentors. And like I said, the American dream. I really love seeing people take home ownership, and it's just, there's nothing like it. The money's great, yes, but again, this is the American dream right here, guys.
Love it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Because they're all, and you might just hear my voice come from random parts. Don't even look for me. Don't worry about it. You'll just hear it. You'll just answer it. Look at them. So they'll figure out where I am. You don't need to, I promise. Because you guys are overlapping, but you also have kind of your own angles, I'm going to kind of grill each of you one at a time before I ask some questions to all of you, but chime in if there's something you definitely need to add to. Cool? I'm going to start with you, Michael. And here's why. The main reason I feel like you're up here is that you've done it, right? You've built a successful brokerage. You've done all sorts of other cool things outside of real estate, but you realized a while ago that you needed to also own property and build a portfolio and whatnot. We've talked a lot in depth about your philosophies about it. Can I just let you start sharing some of those philosophies with the group about why they need to be acquiring real estate, the biggest mistakes that agents make during their career, not building their portfolio, and can you kind of elaborate on some of those thoughts?
The biggest problem that I see with most real estate people is they don't buy themselves. I know older agents that are still agents, still working their tails off. And yeah, it might get better at 20 and 30 years later because you've got a built-in client base, but you're still not making any real wealth. I was a real hustler when I was young. I spent my Fridays and Saturday nights cold calling and door knocking, and conversations were real estate 24/7, but I realized I couldn't keep that pace up. It is an unbelievable pace. I look at the producers now and their so-called teams, and it's an unbelievable pace, but I recognized a long time ago that this one catchphrase, and it is, make money while you sleep. How do you do that? Make money while you sleep. Otherwise, you're making money while you're hustling or brokering or doing whatever you're doing. So, I put a plan of action together. I was a very goal-driven person. I was very obsessed with writing goals. I understand later how things manifest in your life, and I always had goals of, buy 5 houses this year, buy a house this quarter, get rid of my 20 houses and start buying commercial buildings. And at the end of the day, I would advise all of you to take the old boring route of writing down the things that you want, put time frames on them, and even if you don't get them within that year or 6 months or whatever, flip them to the next cycle. You will get everything that you set out to. There's an energy out there that you will connect into. But I used leverage when I was young. I don't like leverage now. But, you use other people's money. You get other humans to pay your rents on your buildings. You let time take over. Your mortgages get paid down. You double up on your payments. You let appreciation. I have a little rule of thumb that's if you hold a decent piece of property for at least 8 or 9 to 10 years, it'll double in value. So if you paid $100,000 for it, it'll be worth $200, and then it'll be worth $400. So that's about a 20-year run there. So,
And how often did you say? Just repeat those numbers.
About 8 to 10 years. This isn't buying in Sanford. Back in the days in Sanford and Altamont, they would go nowhere. But if you hold it long enough, things double in value. And I have things that I paid $600 for that are worth $4 million today. And all I did was hold on to it. I'm not that smart, but I hold on to it. I'm not a flipper. The flippers do well. God bless them. But, my program is a long haul. And I had a very, very good rhythm when I was younger. I was obsessed with working, my intensity, hustling, brokerage. So, go ahead, man.
Love it. Tell me about the phase. Let's share a little bit more about that. I'm going to press on that for a minute. You talked a bit about phases of life and how there's different phases of life and there's different things you need to be doing in those phases. Can you share a few of the phases and how they know what phase they're in and what they should be doing in that phase?
All right, so you have an economic engine between about 22 and about 42, 48. It's not to say you won't work at 50 or 60 years old, but that's your real economic engine years. You got to be making money during those years. I have too many friends in their 50s or even 60s, and they don't have a pot. They don't have nothing, and they didn't put it together. You've got to acquire assets and let things grow. You're always going to have that economic engine. Look, I took 14 years off, went surfing, paddling all over, had a blast, surfed Malibu every day, had a blast, but I'm a worker, and I missed doing deals. It's not that I go out and do deals every day, but at the end of the day, at my point in my life, I've been able to get what I set myself up for. Make money while I sleep, control my own time. I don't have to answer to any humans. Now, I do a couple listings here and there, and I chase a couple deals. So I do a professional service, and I do adhere to to my clients. But at the end of the day, you've got to look at the long haul for your personal life. Where are you at? You've got to hustle between 22 and about 48 because, you can't hustle as good as you did when you were younger in your 50s and your 60s. You don't want to. You want to have time off. You want to do what you want to do. And the only way to do it, in my opinion, is to leverage into real estate.
Love it. How many of you guys would agree with that? If you would, can you guys make some noise? I'm going to switch it up for a minute, but I definitely want to come back to you, Michael. Let's go to Andres, because he's in a different phase in life, I would say. He's in the, ready to cash it in and, work hard.
Let's go.
Young gun phase.
Let's buy.
Let's talk about what you're doing in real estate with your Airbnbs, how you got into Airbnb. Let's talk about how you got into it and give us a snapshot of where it is now.
Okay. So, I started flipping in 2015, and flipping has been amazing. Flipping, I think, is one of the best ways to make incredible amounts of money. So flipping has always been good. I got into Airbnb, actually, in 2016 when I bought my first primary residence. I was renting out a room. I was paying $500 a month, and I just realized, man, I'm still paying rent. I need to buy for me to live in and house hack. And it started...
Tell them what house hack means for those that don't understand that term.
House hacking is basically buying a house, figuring out a way to make rental income by renting out like the other
Breaking it
rooms,
up or
right? Like a
something.
4-bedroom house, you live in the master, rent the other 3 out, and now your mortgage is covered. That's house hacking.
Or
for
convert the garage or convert something.
me. Exactly. So in 2016, about my first primary, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 1-car garage. I lived in the master, and then I rented out the other 2 rooms on Airbnb. At that time, in 2016, there was no competition, so each room was making about $1,200 a month. So just in those 2 rooms, it was $2,400 a month. I was living in the master for free, and I was like, okay, pretty cool. The mortgage is $1,200 a month, so I'm making some pretty decent money. And I have a 1-car garage.
So you're living for free and profiting $1,200 a month, essentially, if I heard about.
Well, I was paying the utilities, so let's say 800 net. Let's say 800 net. But then I realized the 1-car garage is kind of wasted space. And in my country, we don't have houses for our cars, right? Most of the people can't afford that. They can't even afford houses for themselves. So I realized this is wasted space. Let's Colombian style this thing. And what we did is we added a full bathroom, full kitchen, independent entrance. And we did, meaning a casita, or like an efficiency, what we call it. And that little efficiency has been making anywhere from minimum $1,500 a month to $2,300 a month. And I'm talking about a 1-car garage, guys. It's only about 200 square feet, right? So that put me over, I don't know, I was doing like $2,500 a month net.
How many of you right now are thinking, man, maybe I don't need my garage?
Yeah. Oh, I love garages. Don't even get me started. Every time I'm in one, I get excited, man. I get excited because I see
You're like,
opportunity.
you actually put a car here?
Nah, hell no.
This is the ATM.
Nah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's weird. So I live in my garage, by the way. That's an FYI I got. I live in a garage. Me and my beautiful wife.
He means that, just
Huh?
to be clear. Like,
No,
that's not a
I
joke.
do.
He
Yeah.
lives in the garage.
So get this. So I bought that house, 2016, cool. Saw that it was pretty scalable, and I'm like, holy shit, if I just keep doing, wait, can I curse in here or no?
I don't care. Shit. I'll start it. There you go.
All right.
If you're offended, just don't come back next month.
Okay,
But if you
I
like
like it.
Bring your friends next month to make up for the people that left.
Okay, thank you.
Can I add something to that? So I did the same program. I used to live at Mr. Miller's Hardware, Winter Park, in his bomb shelter for about $150 a month. But I owned about 7 houses, and he would come out and say, "You own all these houses and these Mercedes Benzes, and you live in this." I said, "Yeah. I want to make a lot of money in my life." So I was doing the same program.
Wow, I did not know that. Live below your means. Live below your means. That's basically what it is. That's the reason why I'm here.
And where's the business, the Airbnb
where we are
business
now? Okay,
I know you're selling a ton of real estate.
Right. So cool story, right? So I lived there for a year, and I'm like, holy shit, this is super awesome. I should scale this. A year after buying that house, I buy another primary and house hack that. And now that has been passively making us probably about $3,000 a month net after paying taxes, mortgage, everything. The house, we bought it for $189. Now it's worth $425. So holding is the biggest thing in the world. Because guys, just an FYI, and this is not to brag, this is just to inspire and just to kind of give light. Last year, right, we talk about how much money we all made. Get this, guys. From the real estate portfolio that we own about 23 houses right now, single family homes. Our net worth increased about $1 million last year.
Wow.
Think about that. How much time did I put into that? It was the real estate. We all did it. You guys did it. We all did it. And that was 0 time. And that right there is pretty powerful because you touched on that. And I think that right there is powerful because people are like, oh, I made $1 million last year. Dude, did you really? How much did you net? Right? So again, living below your means.
And how did they work?
Exactly.
Is it a very big difference
dude.
between earning $1 million and netting an extra $1 million from stuff you didn't do the work on?
Exactly.
Or doing both.
Exactly. So that's pretty cool. And again, you guys can do it too. I'm an immigrant and I'm not very smart. I just go. And if you guys have that go, let's go. And if you guys want to partner, let's grow. I'm here to make a lot of people millionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires. Let's go. So, all right, back to the story. Hold on a second. So, I bought another house. I lived that one. Okay, so that was cash flowing $3,000 a month. And then I did the same thing to the second one, right? This second one was pretty cool because it has, a little shed. We converted it into a tiny house. Anyway, so, we did that, scaled out, and now we live in a 2-car garage.
So now, how many Airbnbs are you operating or managing?
So out of that 23 single-family homes, we subdivide homes, right? So just one. I don't see one single-family home as one door. We see it as like 3 or 4 doors. What's up?
How many things are on Airbnb?
Units right now we have like 32 that are personal that we own. 35.
And how many
I don't even know.
properties create the 35 units?
About 35 units, and then we manage about like 7 other ones. So we don't really do mainly management. We have the property management. Do we build it because I knew I had to build it and I knew I had to have it in-house because I wasn't going to trust anybody else to run my deal more than me. So I needed to, you know.
I'm going to ask Kelly this one. Kelly, how many properties make the 35?
What do you mean?
How many houses make up the 35 units?
23 houses.
23 houses became 35 units. Do you guys follow that? I just want to make sure everyone caught that. So 23 houses became 35 doors.
On Airbnb, yeah. So
And they're on Airbnb. They're not just rental properties. So I think you guys are starting to follow this. I'm going to switch it up to Jack because I know he's chomping at the bits here. Jack, tell him about what you did and why you did it and why you're doing it. Tell him about the whole, like when you decided to go build and why you decided to go build and how it went.
Well, first off, you know, my mom and dad, they've always been in real estate. My father did construction, you know, all life. So, you know, we're Portuguese, so we got a lot of brick masons, a lot of block masons, and that's just, you know, that's just how it was. My mom did real estate. And back in the 80s, like Mike said, they would run out to Deltona and buy lots for $5,000, $6,000, you know? And my dad would come in and he would do the block, he would do the concrete, he would do all the labor himself and build these houses. And then, you know, my mom would stick a sign in the yard and sell it. So she was always building her own inventory. So this has always, you know, been in our life. It's you know, it's in our blood. This is what we do. And those were my mentors that I've always watched. And then, you know, when I got into real estate, like Michael said, you make the most money investing for yourself, not running around looking in closets and showing houses and you know what I'm saying? Let's face it, the real money to be made, like Michael said, is buying and selling your own personal real estate. So, you know, it all started, I had a lot of connections that were in vacant land. Most of my customers at that time had larger tracts of land, Chiliota, Christmas, out in the Ospina and Geneva areas. And at that time, you know, a lot of them were selling out these horse farms because there's just not that much money anymore in boarding horses, if you understand what I'm saying. So these large tracts, 10, 15, 20 acres, they were starting to sell them out to the developers. All the developers were coming in and, you know, busting these horse farms up. And I had a big connection. I rode horses all my life, so I had the customers that were in the horses. And then we kind of just partnered up. They had the land, and I had the know-how to get it subdivided, get it platted into parcels, and do the entitlement is what I call it. You know, take a 10-acre parcel and get it busted up into, you know, 1-acre lots. And then we started building and selling them that way and just creating that inventory. But the main thing is your profit margin. You know, we're talking profit margin here of anywhere from 50 to 75%. You know, that's huge. And we're talking 6 to 8 months. You know, a lot of these guys that do flips, I've done them myself for years and years, but, you know, your profit margins, you know, they're down to 20, 30%. So you're fronting up a lot of money, and you know, you got to do a lot of volume. Let's face it. You know, you got to do multiples. And I've always liked brand new. Like I said, you know, my folks always did brand new homes and building spec homes. So I like brand new. You get a brand new house, you know, you don't have any problems. You get all the warranties, all the bells and whistles. So, you know, for me, you know, I had the connections too. I knew so many contractors. I knew so many subs. And I'm hands-on myself. You know, if it comes to banging nails or doing some flooring, you know, I know how to do it.
So tell us how you start. Not just how you start, but like how would someone start, you know, building that spec? Actually, first of all, tell me how many you built last year.
Last year I did 4. I did 2 in Ospina, and Ospina was a nice lick, I call it. I went out to Ospina and I bought a lot for $20,000. It was on Maytown Road. It was a half-acre lot. It was a beautiful lot. It was about 200 feet wide by 200 feet deep. It came in the MLS. Most everything I buy is on MLS. It was on MLS for, you know, maybe a couple months. So I buy the property. It was listed at 22. I offered them 20. Buy the property. Now, I had the mindset of going in and building one house on this half-acre lot. Well, by the time I go to the county and start, you know, doing my investigating with setbacks and this, that, and the other, I found out that I actually had multiple lots in this half-acre. So I was able to do what they call a lot combination down at the county. For $150, you're able to merge these lots together. Right? So out of that 1 half-acre lot, now I was able to get what? 2 lots. So now my profit margin went from one single family home at a $20,000 lot. Now I've got 2 lots at $10,000 apiece. Okay, so now I'm making some money here. Okay, we were further out. We were out in the sticks, if you would. You know, Ospina's. It's still, you know, it's still the sticks. We were on the edge of Deltona, which was good, and we were on the edge of Sanford, which was nice.
What it cost you to build?
Right now, I'm at about $75 per square foot. That's me. Now, you know, if Jack or Johnny or somebody calls me up and says, hey, listen, will you build a house for me? And understand this, guys, I'm not a GC. I've got a GC that I work with, okay? I pay a flat fee, okay? And he comes in and he builds for a flat fee.
Wait, can I say that? Can I have you just repeat that one time?
Flat fee. Flat fee.
And
with a
you
GC.
partner with a GC.
Yes.
By the way, if you guys need a GC, there's one of these slides that's up right now, but it will keep sliding around. It'll have a giant red alert on it, so you'll notice it. And it is a red alert of the 3 sponsors you need to know. Just snap a picture. When you see it behind them, you're going to want to snap it, I promise you. It'll have an exclamation mark, it'll be red, and it will have 2 GCs and a hard money lender you're going to want to know. Just throwing that out there. Take a picture of it. Soft money, sorry.
Soft money. So back to the Osteen project, you know, I was in the mindset of building one house on 1/2 acre lot. So at that time, you know, I needed another partner to bring in some more cash in order to build 2 at the same time. Luckily, the partner that I had the money, and we were able to build the 2 at the same time. So we had our buying power, which was strong. All of our subs were there. You know,
you built 2 properties.
Built 2 houses.
What did the houses cost to build?
Well, that was about $75 a square foot.
What did it cost to build, though, out of pocket?
Out of pocket,
If you don't mind me asking.
you're probably around, you know, 100, 110, 100, 115 a house. Now, granted, I built a small little cookie cutter house. Okay.
So you're building 2 houses, 110 each, and you're selling them for about what?
Well, I had listed those for $262. The appraisal came in, one at $252 and the other at $250.
Who's following the math here?
Yeah.
So 110,000 or so.
Yeah.
20,000 for the lot, which is really 10,000 each, right? So 10,000 for each lot. 110,000 for the house. He's 120,000.
That's good money.
In.
That's
and
damn,
then the
damn
houses
good
are
money.
listed at, what was the price again?
It ended up appraising for $250.
For 250.
That was 300 and 312 Osteen Maytown Road. All my stuff's in the MLS. But like Eric's saying, that's good money. You know, you're building inventory, and we're what? We're selling the American dream. This
you
is
build
what
an
we like
extra
to
4
do.
of those a year, and is that not, that's the equivalent of selling about how much?
A
extra
couple
$10
million dollars, yes, sir. Yes,
An
sir.
extra
Yeah,
12 million,
yeah.
13, 14 million dollars at least?
Right.
Is that fair? Is that, I'm not an agent. Can someone tell me that math's bad?
You're right on the money, Aaron. You're right on the money.
All right, so instead of trying to grow your business by an extra 10 to 15 million, just build 4 houses, sell them. You had to have the cash to put up, or find a soft money lender that will do it. Are we on the same page
We're
here?
on the same page, yeah. Here's some of the things, though. It's not all peaches and cream.
Sure.
Let's
I'm going to ask you about the
understand
mistakes in a second.
because
Don't worry.
there's a lot of what? Treacherous terrain out there. There's a lot of property that's got what? Swamp on it. You got DEP issues. You got setbacks. You got zoning. You got a lot of
You might have
variables
to
that
hold
come
it
into
for a
play.
while.
But that's
My-
where your experience is, you know, through the years. So,
Exactly.
so what you're hearing, both these guys, they're manipulating real estate. They're manipulating and leveraging real estate. Land is the highest income producing opportunity, and that's what these guys are doing. If I have one regret when I was young is I didn't learn to build. You know, I'm sitting in Winter Park. I used to own 20 houses around there, and every year, it just the whole town is. You know, our lots are going for 400 to $1 million now.
Okay.
You know, we used to buy these houses for 70 and 80,000.
Yeah.
I wished I had learned to build. I wished I had learned to entitle.
And you're right. And I mean, like I said, the mentors that I had in my life, you know, Charles Clayton, you know, Winter Park, Rex Tibbs, you know, all these guys, I started framing and beating nails for them, Michael. So I had that experience in my back pocket, you know. My family, they were blocking brick masons. You know, I turned the corner and went to framing. You know, I like wood frame. You know, you can do more, build more, and it's cheaper. You know, I'm cheap.
So Jack, if I'm in the room and I'm like, if my ears just perked up hearing that stuff, and I'm going, shit, I should go build some houses this year. There's a big inventory problem in Central Florida.
Huge inventory shortage.
How many of you guys would agree there's an inventory problem?
Yeah.
Don't worry, anyone else just isn't listening. So if my ears just perked up what would be the first step? What's the team I need to assemble, and what's the first step I need to do?
So my team, consists of a really good GC. You've got a really good relationship. And, I can call the man anytime and say, hey, listen, this is what I've got. This is what I'm thinking about building. And he's just on my side,
Well, real quick, I'm going to interrupt you real fast. Hey, if you're a GC and you're in the back of the bar and you got a hat on, just raise your hand real quick. If you need a GC, connect with David Buckles. Just throwing that out there, making sure that I connect the dots for you guys.
Exactly. So first, you really want to get a good GC that you can work with and you guys are going to be able to communicate with, because the biggest problem is communication. And I'm not a GC. I stay in my lane. I love and focus, eat, sleep real estate. I know real estate. Now, do I know just as much, if not more, than the GCs or the flooring guys or the plumbers? Yes, I do. Why? Because, like Michael said, I started at the bottom. I've been classically trained here. A mother that's been doing real estate, doing this stuff for a long time, banging nails with people like Charles Clayton. These guys have been building specs for years. They just don't build the small stuff that I build. They build what, Michael? The homes he's building out there are what? $1 million and plus. They're on Lake Sioux. They're on, they're big stuff. And they've been doing it their whole life. So basically, you got to get a good GC that you can work and communicate with. Then you need to come up with a solid floor plan. And what I mean by a solid floor plan is a nice cookie cutter house that's gonna sell and it's gonna what?
And you pay an engineer, right?
I pay the engineer.
Architect.
Yes, sir.
Architect, engineer.
Yep.
One of them.
The architect draws it up and then the engineer.
They draw it up for the
certifies.
engineer, and
Yes,
then
sir.
you have a cookie cutter template
So
to go
I
build
get
a house.
that cookie cutter. Now, I've built that house probably, over 12, 13, 14 times. I know where every screw, every bolt is, and I know exactly how much it costs down to the 2x4s. Now, granted, we just had a lumber hike, so, 2x4s and plywood were going through the roof, but, for me, it was good because I had already had the trusses ordered. I had already paid for them, so I really didn't get hurt. But who at the end is going to get hurt with this? The consumer, the buyer, yeah. They're going to pay for it. It's a vicious cycle. The lumber's come down now, so the prices are coming down. Your 2x4s are going back down to $450, $499 a pop. They were $899 back a month ago.
So Jack, I'm gonna ask you one or two other things.
Yes,
on
sir.
that.
Yeah, bud.
So we got the land. So we got a GC in our pocket. We've saved up the money or connected with a soft or hard money lender in some way that makes sense. We're looking for the land.
Okay, so
We're looking for land that's not a pain in the ass to clear, basically, right?
Right, and Michael will agree with me. Number one is what? Location, location, location. You want to buy in what? Location. A great location, your school zones.
Would you do Osteen again?
I probably would not go back to Osteen. The only reason I wouldn't
Just want to make sure we learn our lessons here.
I wouldn't go back to Osteen because it was so rural out there and it was just too far.
So we got location, we got the GC, we got the money, we got the location. Not to cut you off, but I'm going to sum it up. We got the location, the GC, the money, and then they need to essentially be able to wait on it, right? How long from the day you pick the lot to the day you expect to have money back in your pocket?
You need to estimate a year. A year is a realistic, time frame, especially now because the biggest thing when it comes to building is it's all scheduling, right? You got to make sure you get the framer in there. You got to make sure you get drywall guys in there. Blah 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 blah. That's why you drive around and you see so much lumber just trusses sitting on the side of the lot and they don't have them up and they got the block up. This, that, and the other. Well, they didn't schedule it the right way. So you got to really be in tune with what's going on next and who's going to be in there next. And you got to remember this too. When you're working and you're doing a flat fee with a lot of these GCs, okay, and basically they power of attorney over the permit to you, right? So Mike's the GC. He gives me power of attorney on this permit. I do everything for that flat fee that I pay this GC, okay? He's not running me spreadsheets. He's not doing cost plus breakdown or anything like that. I'm scheduling everything. I've got to do everything. So it's all me.
Someone could partner with someone that wants to do it, though.
Yes, you could partner with another GC and maybe have him come in as a partner and pay him a little bit more money. But then again, you're not building at $75 a square foot. Now you might jump up to $100 a square foot. So it all makes sense. It's all relative.
Love
You know, Clayton and Tibbs and all these custom builders out there in Winter Park, you know, those guys are up to, you know, 200, 225, 250 a square foot. But
So-
they build custom houses.
I'm going to switch it over to Mike now. Mike, let's talk about, you've been acquiring commercial property. Do you have multifamily as well? Single family? Tell us about what you acquire, why you
Mostly
acquire. How about that?
retail and office buildings.
Tell the people in this room about when you, like, how you knew that it was time to transition from just being a broker to building that portfolio, but also, like, where you start.
Well, you start really with buying your own home, and then you fix that up, you clean it up, and then you flip that money into the next home. It takes 3 to 4 jumps to get to $1 million house.
Walk us through that philosophy and how often they should be moving.
You use your brokerage fees. You use the minimum down. You use these rates that are fantastic, and you get in there and you live a year and you clean it up, and you sell it, and you flip all that money into the next property. It took me three jumps or 4 to get to about $1 million house. At the end of the day, that's the easiest path for you, is to buy your own home. Now, I was buying a lot of owner-occupieds and turning them into rentals, but I figured a long time ago that humans cause a lot of problems, and I don't want a lot of humans in my life. I mean, especially today, my God, if you've got a residential house and you got COVID and people that are real smart and say, well, we don't actually have to pay you, so thank God I don't have all those, but you have to go through all that. I found long time ago that if I bought office buildings or retail or something like that, I could do 3 and 5 year leases. I could structure
Real
my
quick,
leases.
if you're in the back of the room or upstairs chatting, I promise you it's echoing up here, so if you guys could stop, we want to hear what Michael's saying.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I found that commercial and office leases, I could do 3 and 5 year leases. I could make the tenants pay for air conditioning. I could make them pay for everything. I could do triple net leases, and that really frees me up. You know, they're not sneaking in dogs and smoking and not paying the rent. Humans just don't pay their rent. I mean, they just don't. But you got to go through that hardship, all right? But I highly recommend leveraging into location the best that you can into commercial. You know, it is such a much better path. I mean, you can do these leases to where they're paying for their own air conditioning repairs and things like that. So, you know, I just recognize that I didn't want to own a lot of residential houses. But I do, you know, while I have the mic, I want to tell you about the best deal that I ever heard of. Okay, it was back in the early 80s. There was a large piece of land over off Kirkman Road called Project Deborah. So this guy that had no money got somebody else's money on a borrow, and he put down a deposit, and he tied up Project Deborah. And then he flipped this for $100 million. This is back in the early 80s. He had no money in it, but the deal doesn't stop there. He pays the money back. He takes the $100 million. He doesn't touch $1. He takes the $100 million and he tax deferred exchange into properties all over Florida, beachfront land, apartments. I mean, that was the biggest wealth play that I've ever heard in my life. He used somebody else's money. He tied up a large piece of land, and he flipped it. That's Metro West now. That's what you call Metro West. You know, I mean, what a deal. But anyway, you'll find the deals. What I highly recommend is you've got to have a lot of intensity at your age, and you have to find a rhythm. And I also advocate finding balance in your life. You can't just work all the time. Do find some balance in different areas. But you just be focused on your own financial growth, and you will get there in time. You got to play the long game. You know, this doesn't happen overnight. I charted my own success. I started with a negative net worth of about 70 grand, and then after like a year and a half, I had a positive net worth of about 70, and then I went to about positive 300, and then I was almost to 700. Then I became a millionaire at about 30, you know, and at the end of the day, I have consistently stayed on this plan, sometimes with intensity, and sometimes I'd back off and not do the goals and things, but at the end of the day, if you stay on your written goals and you stay driven to your goal, you will get really, really good, and you'll get what you're seeking. The other advice that I would advise is do try and specialize. This is a builder. This is a guy that builds, and not just builds, but he, Jack permits land. I mean, that's such a manipulation. That is the highest income opportunity of all the real estates. I love the new age B&B. I think that's a real wealth opportunity because you're using leverage, you're multiplying your properties, you're using other people. That hasn't played out, but I love that game. I don't play it myself, but at the end of the day, that is a way in.
We can start, guys.
That is a way in. So I would try and specialize. If somebody came up to me and say, I want to get in real estate, I'd say, go specialize. Go out to iDrive and just do retail, Go just be a land guy. Unfortunately for me, I was a residential broker. I flip-flopped into commercial. Back then you could wear a lot of different hats. And I kind of regret that. I should have been a real estate developer. The Charlie Clayton Sr. I used to assemble for. Oh, yeah. And those guys just made mega bucks, and they never had their own money in it. As rich as Charlie Clayton Sr. was, he never had a dime of his own money. Ooh. And these guys made so much money. And look, I'm not saying go get wealthy because that's going to. It's just a game. It's a success game. It's succeeding at something. So it's not an ends to everything. All the money in the world is not going to make you happy. It's all that balance will make you happy. But at the end of the day, y'all are playing the money game and the real estate game. We want to win at that. So the advice that these guys are giving are, spot on.
Get out there and invest and make some real money. And, that's what it comes down to.
Quick question. How many of you guys would like Mike to coach you? Raise your hand real quick.
I don't coach.
He doesn't coach, but how many of you guys would want to come to a workshop where we have a deep dive where he opens up his playbook and spends a day, or spends part of the day, teaching you guys about wealth building and strategies and life and that type of stuff? Would anyone be interested in that? If you would, just make some noise. Woo! Yeah! All right, Mike, just throwing that out there. Quick other question. I'm going to throw another question since we're talking about it. Anybody want to go into, because let's be honest, Andres is only going to whet your appetite with it, no matter how much he tries to answer. How many of you would want to spend a half day or a few more hours learning from Andres or anyone else about how to really profitably run Airbnbs? Raise your hand and make some noise. All right, so here's the problem. When I made you guys register, only about half of you had to put your cell phone number because I screwed it up. If you want to get the info about when we actually convince them to do these workshops, here's what I need from you. Pull out your phone right now. I forgot this in the start. I just need you to pull out your phone, and you're going to send a text message to this phone number. I'll give you the number. The message is your name and your email and your company. That's it. Just your name, your email, your company, so I make sure you get the info. Here's the phone number. It's 407-505-5194. Most of you got a text from it earlier. That means you're on the list already. And those of you that are like, I didn't get a text, it's because I didn't get your cell phone. That's why you're texting me. 407-505-5194. Your name, your company, your email. And I'll make sure you get the info when we launch these. And Jack, we'll do something too.
Sounds good.
We're doing a bourbon barbecue. We'll send them that. Right?
Yeah, there you go.
We could do a full day deep dive into building homes, right?
Oh, all day.
Anybody want to learn how to build some homes?
Yes.
Make some noise?
Yes, right. Please.
All right. So we're going to have 3 workshops, it sounds like. And we'll have to bring David Buckles in on that one too. So send a text message, your name, your number, your name will have your number, your email, and your company, 407-505-5194. And by the way, that's the right number that you got a text from, right? I didn't just screw that up? Sweet. All right, let's keep this thing going. Andres, let's go back to the Airbnb. Let's talk about mistakes. I want to hear from each of you, actually, but I'm going to go to you first. In the kind of lane that you've been talking about today, what are the biggest mistakes that you see people making? So, Andres, I'll ask you for Airbnb. What are the biggest mistakes that you see people making or lessons learned?
Lessons learned, probably, we should have gone luxury, honestly. We should have invested more money into the furniture, because you got to realize we didn't have much money back when we started an Airbnb. So, and I've always been super frugal, like incredibly frugal, and I love saving money. I love it. It just makes me excited. But we used to buy our stuff from like Goodwill and thrift stores and garage sales. Like it was some jacked up stuff. The stuff that we buy, it was some. Anyway, I don't even know how we did great. But there was no competition back then, so that's what we did. But yeah, no, I would go hard on luxury. I would just do the nice furniture. I would spend the extra money on like the quilted sheets with like the highest amount of like
We can hear
quality
you guys down there.
and
Whoever's talking on the phone.
probably I didn't go hard enough as much as I could have. I should have bought
see
more
my-
houses. I should have just gone like 100%, 1,000%. I went like 10%, and I think buying more houses would have been great. Maybe doing that, and hiring out a property manager. I should have done that a long
Say that one more time.
Hiring out.
Hey, quick question. Do we have any property managers in the room? If anyone in the room does property management, just raise your hand and look around the room. There's probably at least one or two in this room. So find them. Keep going.
Yeah, wow. It's just not dollar productive. So I look at my time as money, right? Just like how everybody is. You got to calculate what your time is worth. If it doesn't make me anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 an hour, usually I don't do it because that's ballpark figure $5,000 to $10,000 an hour is what I normally make.
So what you're saying is this Airbnb class is going to be expensive.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
We're rolling out a coaching program that's going to be $100,000. You give me $100,000, we'll partner 50-50, and I'll make you a millionaire if you're not a millionaire. But it's $100,000. Why $100,000? Yeah, coming soon. Why $100,000? Because I don't want everybody and their mom. I want just a couple different people. I'm going to focus on these people, and it's going to be up to that person whether we take that company to $1 million, billion, or trillion. Because I'm ready.
Let's talk about the Airbnb. I love it. Let's talk about the Airbnb. So when someone people that are thinking about getting in on it, what are the big mistakes they're making in Orlando when it comes to like picking the area,
location,
or getting the occupancy?
Location. So most people that do Airbnb, they go to Kissimmee. They go to Kissimmee and Davenport and all these different places that everybody and their mom, dude, they're already there. Everybody and their mom is building there. There's so much inventory in Kissimmee and Davenport and all these different places. You're gonna make money, but
There's the save the sponsor slide. Just throwing it out there.
Wait, what?
Keep going.
Oh yeah. But I just don't like all the HOAs. If you're in like the luxury Kissimmee, Davenport, Union, all these different areas, they're beautiful, they're great, but they have high HOAs. They got CDDs, they got high taxes, they got all these bubblegum things that are not making you money. They actually lower your ROI.
Trap and out of the HOAs.
Exactly.
Tell me about the rules, because a lot of people in Orlando don't even know the rules about Orlando, Orange County, Incorporated. What do they need to know?
Okay, so just the basics. If you're in Orange County, right? There's unincorporated Orange County and there's City of Orlando, right? Two different deals. Unincorporated Orange County, if it's zoned R1 and R2, the minimum that you could do is a 30-day rental, month to month, essentially, legally. Unless you're zoned R3, which you could do daily rentals. Okay, so R3.
Was that a law before the?
It was
last
written in
ruling?
code years ago.
Okay, so
if you look up R3, you'll see transient rental, and that's daily.
Yeah, because those are grandfathered in, because it's against the law to deny anyone a B&B unless you're grandfathered in.
Correct. So that's one deal. And then City of Orlando is pretty awesome. They're pretty revolutionary because they actually allow you to do Airbnb legally. They regulate you, and you have to pull a permit. And basically, with City of Orlando, it's basically you can do 50% Airbnb, which is daily transient rental, and then the other 50% has to be long-term rental, which long-term rental is a 30-day minimum rental, month to month. So essentially, that's allowed.
So you need to have at least be living in part of it, or have a long-term tenant in part of it. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's within what area?
That's City of Orlando.
That's the actual City of Orlando, incorporated, correct?
City of Orlando, correct, yeah.
So they could have an Orlando address but be unincorporated and not have to follow that rule, is that right? If they're in
there's just two different
Orlando,
deals. There's
separate.
You're either in unincorporated Orange County or you're in City of Orlando. Like right now, we're in City of Orlando. We're not in Orange County, basically. Like if you need to pull a permit to do anything here, you're gonna go to City of Orlando. You're not gonna go to the Orange County. But if you go to a house that's like little, in the outskirts or whatever, it's gonna be unincorporated Orange County. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. How long? So let's say that you've got a property. You're like, you found the property, you've got it ready to go. It looks nice. You furnished it and all that. Tell me. Actually, let's talk about that. Tell me about what you furnished with. Are you top of the line? Are you middle? Where do you buy your stuff?
So now we're
What's it
going
cost to
luxury.
set up?
Now that we have money, we're just like, okay, so I'm always analyzing numbers, ROI, cash on cash. I look at life just like that. It's kind of weird, kind of funny. But yeah, so I analyzed that if you invest like an additional 15% on your furniture, you'll actually make about 25% more money. So that right there is a no-brainer.
Share that nugget one more time. Just repeat it. If you
Yeah,
spend
if you-
15% more on furniture for your
Yeah.
Airbnb, getting stuff that's not janky, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to go luxury. You got to differentiate yourselves, because at the end of the day, most of the time, the people that are making the decisions on the Airbnb are the girls, because the girls are the ones that are more organized, and they're the ones that are like, the ones that usually take control of the, setting up the vacation and all this different stuff, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, look, those things are going to come through in the pictures, and you're either going to want to stay there or else you're not. So you need to invest in that. We just stayed down in Exuma at a place, and we just are still talking about where we stayed, and it's because of the furniture and the layout. Every day we went, gosh, this is really cool, instead of somebody chin-chin,
Exactly. And then one other thing, I would probably focus more on experiences. Everybody and their mom now has an Airbnb here, and in order for me to be different, because I always like to be different. I've always been that dude that I was like, hey, I'm gonna be a millionaire, like 10 years old, and everybody was laughing. They're not laughing now. But, I've always kind of stood out, and I like standing out now, and I think right now, right?
You sell the whole experience.
Yeah, now we're going all in
Jack,
on the
tell
experience.
what you were pitching me the other day
What's that?
about Sanford. What did you want to do?
Oh,
At
do an
Airbnb.
Airbnb with a golf cart for the golf cart district, and hit the breweries down there. That'd be a
Put a
sweet
keg in
little
it, like he had like the full thing thought out.
Have
like
the
his
tap
marketing.
with some craft beer on hand, and get in your custom golf cart and go hit these little breweries.
Just throwing it out there. I mean, I'm not
awesome.
sure. I'm not sure if she still has it, but our friend Lacey has a listing in downtown Sanford that has a cave in the back of it. Like, you could probably figure out something to do with that experience. Just throwing it out there if it's still on the market. All right, sweet. So.
Yeah, hold on a second. What's the address?
Kelly, write that one down.
Cave, baby.
All right.
We're moving into the cave. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Right. So
I'm ready.
So you find the property, you furnish it well. Listing. Is there anything you need to know about the listing, or like can you either tell them what they need to do or reassure them that people will book?
Hey guys, guess what? It's not that scary. It's okay. You know what it is, guys? It's fear. It's fear-based, right? There's no fear. You're gonna make money. It's okay as long as you're buying with the right strategy, right? If you have guidance, right, and if you know where to invest, you're gonna make great money.
Many people
But even if you buy in Kissimmee,
Airbnbs.
I mean, I have clients that buy in Kissimmee all the time, and they make money. They'll do like an 8 to 10%. So if you're scared, don't be scared. You'll make money.
How do you know if you have a price right?
So there is technology for that. So we automate it. We take care of everything, because we also have a property management company. We charge 25%, but for everybody here that is listening, 20%. We could do 20%, and it's turnkey, and we take care of everything. We have technology that basically fluctuates the pricing.
So it sounds like they're going to need to come to a full day class no matter what I ask.
Probably, absolutely, yeah. Because this thing basically fluctuates. Like, for example, EDC weekend, right? November 7th through 10th. I don't know if you guys know, but we get 400% of what it normally sells for.
What do you get?
Huh? 400%, yeah, 400% in the EDC weekend. I don't know that. You don't know that, right? But this app that we have does that, controls it by itself, so that's pretty cool.
For the boomers in the room, that's an electric music festival.
Yeah. So the price fluctuation, I think, is a must, because nobody exactly. I don't keep up with everything, but this app does it for you. It's what the hotels use, essentially.
Airbnb in the next few years, you might even see the day where there might, it's not official, but there might be a World Cup. You never know.
I think it's coming here for sure. And I think that, especially with COVID right now, and the fact that everybody's getting vaccinated and everybody's like, everything is going back to okay. I think, our Airbnbs right now are crushing it. I mean, we're blessed, honestly.
Love it. Let's switch over to Jack, if that's cool. Jack, I want to talk about how you decide when you're looking at these properties. You flip some of these properties, you build some of these properties. Do you hold some of the properties as well? Do you have rental properties?
I don't, because it's just not my motto.
Tell us about the flips.
Like Mike said, you deal with these residential tenants, they've just got all these problems. And I got burned one time, I had to evict one couple, and they, at the end they played this, they were disabled card, and they got a couple extra months on me, and it was just left a bad taste in my mouth. So for me, it's just not my style. I like to build brand new, is my favorite, and sell a brand new turnkey house with all the warranties, and it's totally new.
Let's talk about the flips that you do, though, if that's cool. Because
sure.
you're a flipper on the panel too.
The flips
How do you pick them? How do you decide? What do they look for?
Well, for me, it's location number one. I don't like going into some of these really depressed areas and doing a rehab. I piggyback off the school systems. So number one is your school systems. And I believe that, not everybody's got the money or the financials to send their kids to, these big private schools. So you want to really dial in on, your A-plus schools. If you take a look at Oviedo, for example, they've had A-plus schools for years and years and years. So maybe, go into some of the depressed areas in Oviedo. I did a flip there not too long ago, and we did really, really well.
What are the basics? Tell me, you're looking for a flip. How do you know what to look for? You're looking for a location. What else?
Location's number one, and then the repair cost. So, I want to go in there, and sometimes I'll take stuff that needs a little bit more work than the average person, because your average person just wants to put, like I call it, lipstick on a pig. You know what I'm saying? They want to go in there, they want to paint it up real quick inside out, and they want to try to flip it and make $40,000, $50,000. Well, I like to go a little deeper. I want to get what? Roof damage, slab damage, slab work. Why? Because I've got the resources and the connections to where I can reach out to my contractors that can do some structural damage. They can do the roofs. They can do the plumbing and all that stuff. So the more work, the better for me. Again, I'm piggybacking off these schools. I'm staying in Seminole County. I've moved into Sanford because there's a lot of these magnet schools that are getting built out there. You've got the Galileo on 46. It's an A-plus magnet school, and a lot of the parents are bringing their kids to these schools. And you can, of course, it goes down to price. Let's face it. You can still get what? A cheaper house in Sanford, and you've got the margin to work with. I don't want to invest $100,000 and put 40 in it and only make 10 grand. That's not my style. Mike or Brad, that might be their motto, and they want to do that and do multiples. No, I'm a home run guy. Listen, I want to hit a home run. If I can't make 40%, I don't want to touch it. It's not worth my time. Like you said, you make a lot of money per hour, right? I want to make good money too. Especially when I go into these projects, I really take my time. I bring in quality contractors to do the work.
What are the red flags for you, Jack? Let's go through that. What are the red flags? I'm gonna run through each of you for your own lane. What are the red flags that you look for to tell you this smells funny or I'm staying away from it?
For me, if we're talking flips, fire damage, number one. Man, you better know what you're doing when it comes to fire damage, okay? It will eat your lunch. Let me tell you one more time. It will eat your lunch, okay? You got to cut out what? Drywall. You got to do new duct work. You got a lot of work in there, okay? You will get your ass handed to you, okay?
So no fires.
Mold, number two. Let's be real. You pull out these vanities, you pull out these kitchen cabinets, and you got what? 3-4 feet of mold back in there. You're going to get what? Your ass handed to you. You better know what you're doing, okay? I'm just telling you straight. It'll go from a $30,000 rehab to now $60,000, okay? And the contractors you're bringing in there, you better bring in there a guy who's going to tell you straight up, or like I said before, you better know more than what he knows, okay? I hear it, I see it all the time. People call me up, okay, and they say, hey, Jack, listen, I got one contractor in here. He's telling me to what? Replace all the piping because I got polybutylene. I go out there, I look at it. What is it? It's CPVC, okay? Well, no, he told me it was gray. No shit. CPVC is. Polybutylene is what? It's the fucking brass fittings that blow up. Those were the ones that exploded. It's a gray pipe, yeah, but that's where the class action lawsuit is. Now you got what? A whole plumbing job. He's trying to get $5,000 off you. That comes out of your profit. Come on, guys, wake up. You better know more than what these guys are telling you. What's that, bud?
Any other red flags?
Red flags is DEP. You don't want to get into bed with DEP. You get into bed with DEP, you're going to be hemmed up with wetlands. You got environmental issues. You got a lot of issues, and you just don't want to go there. You can go from a soft a lot cost of maybe 35, 4,500 with fill and clearing and this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, you turn around and you're spending $50,000, $60,000. Why? Because you got cypress, okay? You got ferns, you got sweet gums, you got elms, all this shit that you didn't know about, right? And your land guy's over here like this, chick-ching, 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 right? I'm going to bring in what? $100,000 worth of fill. I see it all the time. Septic and well, two other big things. Why? Because you got the health department now involved, okay? And you need how many feet between septic and well? You can't just put them right next to each other. You can't have the well and the shit next to each other. Let's be real, right? You got to have 75 feet, guys. And that's what? If your neighbor's got a septic over here, you got to be what? 75 feet off of him. So you better know what you're getting into. It ain't peaches and cream. Mike, it will eat your lunch.
I'm going to switch you. I love it. I'm going to switch to this side. Mike, tell me the red flags, real estate investor-wise, or just those mistakes agents make, if that's better, either or.
I'm a proponent for other people's money and leverage, but I actually have always gone solo. I did a deal back in the early 90s. I was a young man. I made a bunch of money. I considered myself a millionaire at the time, and I did one deal with John Morgan, and I lost the equivalent of about $1 million. And it just set me back so bad that I have been solo ever since. And at the end of the day, you do have to partner, but you got to be smart. You got to be smart. So what these guys aren't telling you right now is there's a lot of failure in this. There's a lot of failure. The very first house I bought at about 23, 24 years old, I got my dad to sign on the loan. It was a triple no money down deal on Lake Griffin in Castleberry. Overpaid for it for $66,000. Proud owner. I wasn't smart back then. The roof, the ceiling was about 7 feet. All right, and at the end of the day, that went back to the bank. It went back to the bank. Wasn't my name on it, but there is a lot of failure in real estate. You want to mitigate that. You want to minimize that. You want to be smart. If there's something I can share with you, and that is, you really got to be a really good analyst. Jack over here has talked about analyzing. He knows his numbers. It comes with time. I can analyze properties. I became a CCIM a couple years ago out of the challenge to understand in depth how to financially analyze everything in real estate. That's considered a doctorate in real estate. I can practice real estate anywhere in the world without a license because of that designation. But it is all about analysis. And if you think you're going to make $100, then calculate that you'll make 60. And always overestimate your costs. I always, if you tell me something's going to cost me $30,000, I'm going to tell you that it'll cost you $60,000. These are just little basic things.
I love it.
And so I always make money on my deals because I have these built-in things. If you're going to tell me that something is going to cost me $30,000 to cure, it's going to be really 60. So
what are some of the other red flags? And real quick, since you bring it up, I got two things. I heard roofing come up 3 or 4 times today, so I'm just going to plug one more time. If you need a roofer, write down Koala Roofing, Koala. They're one of our big sponsors. Half of the sessions they bring a giant koala. I told them there might not be space this time, but you're going to want to see the 7-foot koala. And the other thing, since you mentioned your former partner, one of our sponsors, Toby Moyle, is actually interviewing John Morgan right across the way at eSpaces today at 2 o'clock for anyone that wants to sit in on that. That's Coach with Life is a Ladder. So Koala Roofing, and there's an event over at eSpaces. That's the building AC Hotel's in. So that's literally right over there. I just figured I'd plug it since we're talking about. So tell me about some of the other red flags, Mike. What are the red flags you see?
Red flags for buying or being an agent?
Getting it as an investment or commercial, either or. What are some of the red flags?
What I think people have to be very concerned with right now is there has been a run. Everybody looks like a gold star investor today, and it's been like that because there's been such a run of appreciation. You can't see when markets rise, but you can see them when they drop, because when they drop like bricks. And at the end of the day, I think that you got to be very careful when you buy today because things are high. Things are high. Would I buy something today? Yeah, I made an offer on something yesterday. I made an offer on something on Monday. But I'm really, look, it's either going to come in on my numbers or I'm not going to buy it. And at the end of the day, you've got to be very sharp on that. And it's tricky because everything is, I wouldn't call it inflated because there's such a migration coming into Florida. There's so much pressure that I think our markets are going to sustain. Do I think there's going to be a market crash financially? Yes, I think,
Tell us, lay it out for
Look,
us. What do you expect to happen?
So I always listen to guys smarter than me. Warren Buffett, the one thing I've heard him say one time, he says that is when everybody's running for cover, you've got to run out with your pans and your pots because it's going to be raining gold. What does that mean? Well, he says 2 or 3 times in your lifetime.
You guys are going to want to write this down. Sorry to cut you off, but I know this is a nugget.
Well, what does that mean? Well, back in 1991 and 92, it rained gold because the RTC folded up in all these properties. I think it rained gold, back in 2008, 2009, 2010. I mean, it rains gold, but it only rains gold about every 10 or 15 years. So most of us have to run for cover because we're short on cash. We were relying on other people to, pay our mortgages and things like that. But, the smart ones, like the big companies right now, they are cash rich, and they're waiting for that crash. So I'm trying to take advantage of when it rains gold. And it's going to happen in the next 6 months, 6 years, 2 years, I don't know.
Michael, tell me this. Since you're in commercial and you do a lot of commercial, do you see the retail side dropping?
There's so much change. There's so much change going on. When I got in the business, there was no electronic anything.
Amazon.
They came out with this thing called the fax machine. Oh my God, look, he's sending that over the phone. And nowadays, it's just amazing how everybody works and how fast and how leveraged things are.
More and more people are working from home now for Corona.
Yeah. So to your question, I see real estate morphing, so I wouldn't go out and buy a mall. What is a mall nowadays? A mall is an apartment site.
Yeah.
Malls are really apartment sites, Mom and pop retail is going to always stick around. If you go out in the suburbs, in the rural suburbs, you'll see these little strip centers, and there's the program. There's a Jimmy John's, there's something else brand, and there's something else brand. Those are the key tenants of a 4-tenant building. And at the end of the day, that's a nice little development program. But, I wouldn't go out and build a big shopping center.
No.
Shopping centers
what
are
about
out.
What about the industrial?
I think industrial's huge because people are converting their offices in there. There's, we need that for transportation of goods.
It's always been a mixed zoning, too, that's just, you can make a shit ton of money or you can lose your ass real quick in industrial. That's my opinion.
So, this is the unfortunate thing I would tell you is sometimes, almost all of you have to fail, and I hope that your failure is a short-lived situation. Real estate can knock your ass. You can be out there, and when this market stops, it's musical chairs, and you better be covered.
Do you have any advice for how they would be covered, or what to make sure they don't do? Or
as you get older, you just have different goals. Like my goals now is I want a free and clear life. All the stuff that I own, I owe maybe about 8% across the board. So back when I was younger, like you, I was leveraged 100%. I remember when I owned about 10 houses.
Share that number just for people that just let that go in one year and out the other, and didn't actually hear that. So the most avid real estate investor with probably the nicest portfolio in this room on it is leveraged at what percent?
All right, so look, there's a book. There's a book.
You didn't catch it.
There's a book that I read. I had lunch with a California investor. He was coming through Central Florida back in the early 80s when nothing was selling, but he was buying everything. He owned probably 1,000 houses. And I had lunch with him. He made me pay for my own lunch. I had no money. He was so tight with his money. But he told me to go out and buy this book. It was Think Like a Tycoon by Bill Green.
Think Like a Tycoon.
Yeah, Think Like a Tycoon by Bill Green. Sometimes.
Hey, can you hold that up one more time? One of our photographers, can you get it and try to get a shot of him holding that book up if someone has a camera?
It's also titled 2 Years to Freedom. So look, I have a very basic mind. I'm a PE major from college. I'm a 9th grade dropout. I never went to high school. So you got to keep it really basic for me. This book has more pictures in it than it does words, all right? It has more pictures in it. But it gave me the frame of mind how I needed to think. Now, all these markings in this book, that's how many times that I've read the book. And again, it's pictures. Now, this book is out of print. You can buy them through used book because I just bought one the other day for about $8 or $9. And times have changed. This guy talks about inflation, which we're fixing to get into. But the basis for this book is how I ran my real estate life. I used real estate brokerage as a way to make a really good living. But I used my investing to make a killing, and I held on to everything. I have things that I bought back in the 80s. And if you use that double every 10 years, 8 to 10 years, it's. So look, I always recommend this book if I talk to anybody that wants to have some personal financial growth.
So I'm gonna get, thank you. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get like 3 or 4 quick takeaways from the audience, and then I have one more question for them if I get the time. But I am gonna ask Michael, just share it. Where'd you get the real estate sign colors? Anyone that's been around and seen the O'Shaughnessy real estate in Winter Park, what made you pick it? I know
Young and
it's a funny
hungry
story.
in 7-Eleven, walking by the candy bars, Butterfinger. There's the Butterfinger. What prettier colors on a package than a Butterfinger candy bar? I said, those are my real estate colors.
And that is one of the
those are my
most
signs.
known real estate signs in
so-
Winter Park. Now, I promise you, I went to Winter Park High School.
Back in the day, I'd say 86 on to about 98. We hustled a lot. I had about 50, 60 agents. We had 100 signs in the yards at any given time. But I was buying along the way, and I wish I had bought more. That was when the Charlie Clayton seniors were. You could go out and buy in the Holler family. They're just buying everything. Everything is $1 million now.
It's crazy.
Everything is. But there's a formula.
I love
there's
it.
a cap rate. But go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to make you expand the whole formula in our session that we're going to do. All right, I need a couple takeaways. Who here learned something? If you did, make some noise. I got to get 2 or 3 takeaways from the room. I'm either going to give you a ticket to the Winter Park Wine Walk, or I'm going to throw these awesome speakers at you. But you got to catch them. So, who got a takeaway? Just raise your hand. Who wants to share? Yeah, right here.
Awesome. I actually didn't know some of the rules of Airbnb. I was thinking about it differently. I thought you had to be 50% like full-time and then 50% you could Airbnb. So I didn't realize it's all broken up and there's a lot to learn there.
Oh, yeah.
In the zoning.
Love it. Love it. Thanks, Tiffany. Who else got one? Yep. Oh, up there. Man, you're always the one that gets to catch these on the second floor. I love it.
You gotta pay your dues. Both Andres and Mike talked about some sacrifices and staying in smaller places while they owned a bunch of other places. So you gotta pay your dues at any given time if you want to be invested.
I love it. Mario, come on this side of that guy. We caught it last time. You want to try again? We have it on video. It's pretty cool. Watch one of the old Masterclass promos, and it starts with us throwing a book to him. And he catches it, and we all go crazy. I forgot that's what we were supposed to do. All right, let's keep going. Who's got another one? Another takeaway? Yep, Brad.
So I heard him say it in a roundabout way. Mike was a little more direct, but you really make your money when you're buying the property. So you got to buy it right. Hopefully it comes on. I heard them all say that in different ways. When you buy it.
You make your money when you're buying the property, so you got to buy it right. I'm going to give you something cool, Brad. I'm going to give you a ticket to the Winter Garden Temptation Trek, because that's probably closer to your side of town. And you're going to want to see Bryce. Bryce, raise your hand, the guy with the cool hat. He runs the Winter Park Wine Walk and Winter Park Temptation Trek. Link up, because there's nothing to throw you. Let's get one more. Right up there. Yes, Cass.
The economic capital window between 22 and 48.
Ooh, that was big. Economic capital window between 22 and 48. And you gotta cash in. How many of you guys, was that a big takeaway for you? Notice it's all the young people in the room. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. I didn't look. I just said it. So let's get one more takeaway. Someone downstairs. Let's go for it.
I really like what you said about the making money while you're sleeping, because I think that's all what it boils down to it. The commission part is the broken part that the realtors have, because you got to work until you make that commission. But how to make that commission work for you and multiply over and over and over. I think that's the key.
We should put Kelly on this panel with Andres.
Yes,
so we're going
yes.
to definitely have the two of them when we do our deep dive. Is that cool? Anyone excited about that one? All right.
Yeah, can I give a shout out to my beautiful wife, please? I mean, can we get a round of applause for her, because I wouldn't be here without my beautiful wife and my beautiful team. So thank you, and thank the Lord, and thank everybody.
All right.
Amen.
One last takeaway from the room. Let's just do it. We got time. We actually don't, but go for it.
Basically, it's all about learning. Just trying to get as much as you can learn. Have your people, know the right contacts.
It's all about learning.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just you're gonna fail, but
Love it. So I'm going to ask them one more question. But before I do, I'm going to just remind you guys of 3 things real quick, and then we're going to wrap this up after the answer. Number 1 is stick around and grab some lunch. Let's give it up for Harry Buffalo. They're running around. I know there's things going on, but they're doing the best, and it's pretty awesome. They don't need to be open this early. They don't open till like now. So you can stick around. The second thing is make sure you're at next month, September 16th. If I got that date right, that's masterclassorlando.com. I promise you, by the way, we're about to announce something that's hot. I promise. Was this one pretty popular? Have the last 3 been pretty popular? Have you guys noticed that we're on a little something? I'll let the cat out of the bag. I'm not going to tell you what next month is, but I will tell you what's coming up in October. We're going to have a women's panel of 3 or 4, we're still talking about it, of the top producing women in real estate, and they happen to rank like all in the top 5 agents in real estate. So like number 1, 2, 3, 4 are all women, and they basically are badass women that either run a giant team or do everything by themselves with no assistant and no team at all. It's going to be pretty exciting. So that's coming up in October. September is a secret. I'm not going to tell you yet. By the way, thank you for signing up, because we raised probably $1,500. I haven't looked at the number for Give Kids the World. Can you guys give yourselves a round of applause for that? That's how we're doing this now, for those of you that haven't figured that out. So Masterclass, it's free if you sign up soon. Costs you $10 if you sign up later, and all the money goes to charities. So sorry we're extorting you to benefit charities. So sign up. Remember, make sure you text 407-505-5194 with your name and your company and your email. I probably got it from most of you. And then here's the last question I'm going to ask each of you. What's the most exciting real estate investment opportunity that you're focused on now? Or what are you most excited about right now for real estate investing? Let's go. Go ahead, Mike.
So before
Everyone wants to hear this, guys.
So before I became a teacher, I was a bouncer, and I was a bouncer at a place called Rosie O'Grady's, and we're in Rosie O'Grady's. This was the most fun job I've ever had in my entire life. I had probably over 100 fights in this building right here over the course of about a year.
We got to get you on a panel with Ron.
You could drink all night, you could fight all night. It was the greatest job. But anyway, I became a teacher, and at the end of the day, what was the question?
The real estate opportunity you're most excited about, but you keep going, man.
The best real estate deal that I'm focused on right now is the one that I have the most fun at. And that is, I have a surf camp called Ho Daddy O's over in Ponce Inlet. I have a little ice cream shop called Ho Daddy O's, and I do about 10 grand a week net over 8 weeks during the summer. And I created it. It's a real estate play because I own the building, but I just have fun. I created it to be with my kids in the water at the beach all summer long. We're in our 11th year, and I have so much fun. And, you know, you focus on the fun part and the money comes. But Ho Daddy-O's.
Love it. By the way, since we're talking about it, I got something to announce. We just locked down the panel for November. It's going to be 4 or 5, depending on whether this person says yes, of the NAR National 30 Under 30 winners. They're all previous winners, so they're probably all in their 40s or ish. But they're all going to be on a panel. We just announced that, like, literally, that just came in right now. But here's what I want to ask you about that. What got you into that? How did you end up with an ice cream shop?
I put a buddy of mine in business there that needed some help in his mid-50s, and it didn't work out. I put up 25 grand. I owned the building free and clear. I said, hey, we'll split it. You just run it. And it didn't work out, drinking problem, whatever. And I had very young kids. I said, 6 and 7 years old, you guys are going to work during the summers. You're going to figure out what it is to own. And the ice cream shop during the summer is enough to pay for my kid to go to Harvard. And at the end of the day, the surf camp goes off. And at the end of the day, my wife before that had him going to Rollins camps. We're spending all these checks. We're not going to our beach house. I said, change the program. I'm going to go out to the beach. But anyway, ice cream, I'm not an ice cream guy. I've never worked there. I have a couple times.
But it's a
There's
business.
so much real estate that flows through that window. I don't take advantage of that.
I love it. I'm going to get what you guys are excited about. And there's one thing, that's what I forgot, and I was about to tell everyone. We're going to give away 2 more tickets to the Winter Park Wine Walk to someone that just does this. Here's all you got to do. Just post on whatever social media you want your pictures from today, a picture from today with the hashtag Masterclass Orlando, and we're going to pick 3 of you to give a ticket to the Winter Park Wine Walk. It could be a picture of this. It could be a picture of these slides. Whatever the hell you want, just post it. We will find you if you use that hashtag. Thing you're most excited, I mean, it's Airbnb, right?
Well, I mean, dude, I'm excited
What are you
about
most
everything.
excited
Dude.
about?
I'm
Let's
excited
get
about
this-
waking up this morning. I'm excited about my wife. I'm excited about doing this. I'm excited about hanging out with you guys and talking. I'm excited about everything. But the most important thing I think that I'm excited about in real estate right now that we're doing is we've been flipping, since 2015, and we're starting to get into new construction.
Starting to build.
I think honestly, the developing side is where we take the this
Love
to the
it.
billions and the trillions, honestly.
Love it.
And I just want to shape. I want to shape Florida. So we are in the process of basically building the
Getting into
first
building.
single family home. That get this, I'm not going to build just any regular home. It's going to be a platinum LEED certified home, right? It's going to be an eco-friendly home, ecologic, right? So it's going to produce more energy than it consumes. It's going to have solar panels.
So you're building a super cool home that's going to be the first one in the county, correct?
So basically, this is going to be my life project. It's going to be basically revolutionary, yeah.
But that's what you're working on. That's what you're excited about. If you want to learn more
Yes.
about it, make sure you connect with Andres and
Yes.
Kelly. Jack, tell them what you're most excited about. And then let's wrap this thing up.
I've got a nice industrial piece in Seminole County. It's a nice 5-acre piece. It's industrial, and I've always had a vision. Commercial is where I want to be, like Michael's doing. Storage facility. So that's what I'm hoping to get into. A nice little storage facility. They're great, money income producing, and that industrial zoning. It's actually something you can actually pick up for fairly cheap. And like Brad said, it's all about the buy.
Love it. Let's give a giant round of applause to our panelists for this month's session. Let's give it up for all of our partners, the real producers that made this thing happen. Make sure you sign up for next month. Stick around and grab some lunch, grab some food, support the restaurant. Real quick, you guys, I just want to just take a quick photo wherever Brian's right here. We're just going to take a photo, and otherwise, thank you guys for coming. See you next month.